Foo Fighters, Best of You on XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais, with me, Steve Merchant, and Karl Pilkington. Alright? Carl's had a bad week. I'm gonna say that straight away. He tries to rule out stress in his life, but he's had a bit too much stress this week, haven't you? One, a phone call from his mum, stressed him a little bit.
Right.
Something he said in a magazine about his auntie, came back to haunt him.
Auntie Nora?
Auntie Nora, yeah.
Don't name her.
Oh,
she knows who she is.
No. Okay, we won't name her, right? We'll just say it's the one who farted for 5 minutes, and as, he sort of saw a skirt when he was young, and I found it like a split tennis ball.
So it could be any of me aunties.
We're that coming up, and also a bloke in Times Online, Chris Campling, did a review of the show,
right,
and basically said that Karl Pilkington is a creation of Gervais and Merchant.
Well, if only that were the case.
He said he started off saying he liked the show. He was excited. Said it was a good show. A lot of the
I'm already questioning his critical faculties.
Yeah, exactly. And basically said that we didn't contribute much, or seemingly didn't seem to contribute much, and we couldn't sort of like ad lib or anything. We just laughed at, particularly me, laughed at Karl Pilkington, who was coming up with some, quite funny stuff. Right? But then he does a twist on it. He goes, but the thing is, we're the puppet masters. He's a created person. We've created the persona Karl Pilkington for our own amusement.
Right.
He bases this on simply that we talked about, what was it we talked about? The Chinese not aging well, and you heard him talk about that on my DVD. But clearly I say, Karl, remember when you were talking about that? It's a news, or remember in the week, and so he thinks it's all scripted now. Imagine if this show was scripted.
I'd be ashamed.
Yeah.
If this show was scripted, I would send back the BAFTAs for the shows the actual shows we've written, and I would say...
I'm not having a go at Chris Campling. He's nice about our other work. He likes The Office, and he likes my stand-up and everything, and he likes the show, but he's saying, because we're not spontaneous, we scripted this and invented Karl. So he's like, we've invented another Gareth.
If we had created Karl, I would not have squandered a character that good on this poxy radio station.
Absolutely. Also, does he know that we spend about 3 months on half an hour script? So how long does 2 hours of dribble? But the main thing is, as if this could be scripted, it's dreadful.
It's shocking.
Or maybe this is scripted.
Hang on, you've lost me now. Let me just check.
Maybe Chris Campling does not exist. Maybe I've made him up.
I don't know what to believe.
See, the name doesn't wash with me.
What was his name?
Chris Campling.
Sounds odd.
That's something that I made up, isn't it?
Campling's almost like a joke. It's almost like a gay name, isn't it? Or is it Campling?
See, I think this is scripted.
Yeah.
I think I've probably made this whole link up, and Karl is a creation. Campling, that's not a real name. I made it up. I should have come up with something better.
Yeah.
Sorry. Down to the River by Bruce Springsteen on XFM 104.9. So, that little fella in the Times thought Karl was just a puppet. We created him. He's an actor. What's his actor's name? Brent Hogwell. we got him from Spotlight. Brent Hogwell.
This stupid, dopey Mancunian accent, he just puts that on every week.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, he speaks rather like Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
And, we just, this whole world around him, we set a whole, what do you think about that?
He had his head shaved,
exactly, yeah.
So yeah, would he think that, maybe if he's looked online and seen me head, and he's noticed how round it is and that, does he think it's sort of been, morphed into that shape just for the show, just for 2 hours on a Saturday?
Yeah. You would spend 5 hours in prosthetic makeup like John Hurt in The Elephant Man.
Everything about him was made up.
Yeah.
We created him, because I remember coming up with Auntie Nora.
Oh, yeah.
You said, Rick, we need another character. I said, what about giving him an Auntie Nora?
Doesn't sound convincing, I said.
Yeah, and you said, what is it about? I said, well, I don't know, she farted for 5 minutes and she's got a fanny like a split tennis ball.
No one's gonna believe that.
Yeah. Oh, that brings us neatly. Well, let's put that to bed now. So, Chris Campling, honestly, we do not script this shambles of a show, and Karl Pilkington really is like this. If you want, you can meet him. I'd love to send Karl for a drink with Chris Campling. Can we do that? And then he'll eat his words. Chris, if you're listening, honestly, this isn't a stitch-up. As I say, I'm not having a go at you. It's a very well-written article. It's very, very fair.
You're just complimenting on his grammar.
Yeah.
It's a very well-written article.
No, I'm saying we're not having a go. It's not like he snagged us off. I would just love him to meet Karl Pilkington. People in the street come up to me and say, is Karl like that? And I so want them to meet him.
Yeah.
Or maybe he can send in, if he's online, he can send in 5 subjects for Karl to talk about that we couldn't possibly know about. Just so he knows that we just really do throw things at Karl, and that drivel comes out. Imagine if it was scripted. But anyway, so Chris Campling, or anyone who knows Chris online, get him to email us, and with 5 subjects that Carl can talk about. That's a good idea, isn't it, Carl?
It is like, I'm the Elephant Man, the way I'm being treated now. Just sort of like...
I scripted that. I wrote that joke last night.
Are you sure?
Or was it yours?
I don't know, I can't contribute.
Carl enters and says, I'm like the Elephant Man.
Hang on, let me just check the credits on the script.
I'll tell you what though, Steve, I found out about the Elephant Man. I was talking to Ricky.
What?
You know, the only bit that was normal on it.
Oh yeah, no, it was in the film. You know the bit in the film, I was watching it one day, it was on, and I said, look, your favourite film's on. And it came to the bit where, he was being exhibited, and he was naked behind the screen to all the doctors. Go on, what did you say? And there's a bit where he goes, and strangely, the only thing that is normal are his genitals. They're untouched by this disease. They are totally normal. Right, what did you say?
It's a bit annoying, isn't it? It's like the only bit that you'd want as an elephant.
The only bit you'd want that was like
an elephant. Yeah, no, I can see that.
And he said, and he got the head. So other stressful things.
But so anyway, what's the anti-Nora thing? Sorry, anti-X.
Anti-X.
What did she, why is she upset?
Well, he mentioned her in Zoo. He did this thing for Zoo magazine, and he mentioned about when he looked up her dress, she had a...
by accident, remember?
Suggesting you were going around looking up your elderly relatives' dresses in case they weren't wearing...
For people who've not heard Carl talk about this in the past, just explain quickly again what we're talking about.
Right.
He didn't want to talk about it at all.
When I was a kid, right, Auntie Nora used to come round, my auntie used to come round.
As if there's any ambiguity now. Yeah.
My auntie used to come round and stay, right? And I'm sat on the floor watching the telly, right? She sat on the sofa with a caftan on. I turned round, right, and it was there.
It was looking back
at me, right. And we've mentioned this, and Ricky sort of said, what did it look like? And, you know, a split tennis ball came to mind. That's what we talked about, right? So anyway, Zoo magazine, when they did the interview...
And she's the one that used to put a valance on everything, isn't it?
Well, not everything, obviously. So anyway, so I've done this.
So you did an interview in Zoo?
Yeah, and like they said, you know, it was like, you know, do you plan stuff and do you worry about stuff when, after you've done the show, you worried you've upset anyone? And, you know, I was saying, really, I forget people are listening. And, you know, we're just having a chat with mates and that. I said, but now and again, I do worry, when I'm on my way home from the show and that, and I'm thinking about what we've talked about. And I was saying, you know, the Auntie Nora incident.
Incident! That's Watergate!
Yeah.
And, anyway, so this was in there, right? And I was saying in the magazine, you know, but I think I got away with it. She doesn't listen to the show, but, you know, and I don't think she reads Zoo magazine, so...
She's more of a nuts woman. Sure, yeah.
So, anyway, so my mum calls up the other week, right, and she goes, wish you wouldn't, you know, talk about Auntie Nora and that. And, I was like, oh, so how do you know about that? She goes, well, one of your cousins have called us up and said they've read the article about it. So yeah, that's why we don't want to talk about it, really.
So he stitched you up.
So do you know what Anti-X is made of this? Do you know if she was upset or not?
Well, she doesn't know about it.
Because, I mean, maybe she's always thought it looked like a split tennis ball. Maybe you're just in sync, you know, because you're relatives and stuff. Maybe she knew instantly. Even if you hadn't named her, she'd have thought, hang on, I farted for 5 minutes once.
Yeah, that's not really ambiguous, is it?
Be me.
If you hear that, like, someone who farted for 5 minutes and's got found like a split tennis ball, you're gonna go, I wonder if he means me. Yeah. You're gonna remember that.
Auntie Jackie. It could be Auntie Jackie.
Oh, God. And he got in trouble, you know, last week when he was going to the wedding?
Let's talk about that a bit.
Okay.
The Cure in between days on XFM. So, Carl, you were going to a wedding last week. Was it last week or the week before?
No, it was last Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he said, looking forward to it. He went, no, it's gonna be boring. Suzanne was listening, knows that the couple, were taping the show, so she had to get in there before you, didn't she? She went up to him and said, look, when you're listening back to the show and he says it's gonna be boring, he didn't mean you, he meant weddings in general. I love the fact she has to run around and clean up after him. It's great, isn't it? How was it?
Do you not like weddings? You're not a fan of them?
they're only good for the people involved, aren't they?
What are you talking about? You're getting free food, free booze, free music?
Yeah, but it's just all the hanging about, and there's loads of people there you don't know.
Absolutely, I agree.
Do you know what I mean? You've got to make an effort.
Yeah.
And, even the bit that was important, right, when they were getting married, right, there wasn't enough chairs, because it was, you know, all the family gets the chairs, don't they? So I was sort of stood at the back. Stood at the back of that watching, and, I couldn't hear what was going on, because a woman was breastfeeding the baby.
Oh!
But what, how loud was this baby guzzling away? You couldn't hear what was going on?
So it was slurping and that, and she was like, I just thought, how hungry is it?
Could it not have waited? Because you've all got to wait for the buffet or whatever later.
I know.
But also just in this.
Well, there was two, wasn't there? Why didn't you?